I'm going to read first. I'm going to read a handful of poems, and I'm going to introduce Bruce a little bit more, and then I'm going to jump up after he's done and introduce Patricia to you all. I often preface this poem by saying how many of you lived next door to this guy that's in this poem. It seems like this guy lived a lot of places in America. I know he lived next door to me when I was a kid. It's called "The Man Into Whose Yard You Should Not Hit Your Ball." Some of you knew him, huh? The man into whose yard you should not hit your ball each day mowed and mowed his lawn, his dry quarter acre, the machine slicing a wisp from each blade's tip. Dust storms rose around the roar, 6 p.m. every day, spring, summer, fall. If he could mow the snow, he would. On one side, his neighbors, the cows, turned their backs to him and did what they do to the grass. Where he worked, I don't know, but it set his jaw too tight. His wife, a cipher, shoebox tissue, a shattered apron, as if into her head he drove a wedge of shale. Years later, his daughter goes to jail. Mow, mow, mow his lawn gently down a decade summers. On his other side lived mine and me, across a narrow pasture, often fallow, a field of fly balls, the best part of childhood and baseball. But if a ball crossed his line, as one did in 1956 and another in 1958, it came back coleslaw. His lawnmower ate it up, happy to cut something, no matter what the manual said about foreign objects, stones, or sticks. For the guy to mow his lawn every single day, no matter what, something was going on in his head. I'd like to read that poem too because it mentions baseball, and I'm sure all of you are aware that the first home game of the season here is very soon, February 18th. I expect to see you all there. This is called a persona poem. It's spoken by someone else, by a character. In this case, he's a farmer, and he's responding to his neighbor's children who've been ripping off his fruit and vines, his peach trees. Particular. So it's being spoken by this farmer to these neighbor kids. He knows the neighbor's father. They grew up together, etc. Shotgun loaded with rock salt. So I took my shotgun loaded with rock salt to sting and burn, but not likely kill the boys who robbed my vines, my 2 peach trees that survived the drought and this year set their first fruit. About a bushel is all, still hard as golf balls. Your cuke vines was growing on our side of the fence, that big boy said last time. Yeah, and my mushmelons just rolled over your side too, I said. He said, nope, they bounced. I never did like his father either when we were coming up. Once I pulled him half drowned from the river. People said I saved his life. He didn't say a damn thing. I thought about that as I sent a double barrel full of salt to say goodbye to my peaches and that big boy's fat ass. I ask kids around, everybody, everybody had a shotgun loaded. If you were a farmer, you had a shotgun loaded with rock salt for just that purpose. A library of skulls, this is called, a library of skulls. Shelves and stacks and shelves of skulls, a Dewey decimal number inked on each unfurrowed forehead. Here's a skull who, before he lost his fleshy parts and lower bones, once walked beside a river. We're in the poetry section now, his head full of love and loneliness. And this smaller skull in the sociology stack, smiling. They're all smiling. It's been empty 100 years. That slot across another's temple, an axe blow that fractured her here. And look at this one from the children's shelves, a baby, his fontanelle, a screaming mouth, and this time no teeth, no smile. Here are a few history, a murderer, and this one, see how close their eye sockets, a thief. And here's a rack of torturers' skulls, beneath which a longer, much longer row of the tortured. And look, generals' row, their epaulets on the shelves to each side of them. Shelves and shelves, stacked on top of stacks, floor above floor, this towering high-rise library of skulls, not another bone in the place. And just now, the squeak of a wheel on a cart piled high with skulls on their way back to shelves, while in the next aisle, a cart is filling with those about to be loaned to the tall, broken-hearted man waiting at the desk, his library card face down before him. Library of Skulls is a library of books in a way, of course.